Here are the 7 things that I stopped doing to improve my mental health. Number 1, get off social media. I know you've heard this said so many times before, but you know it's true. You know that you spend way too much time on social media, mindlessly scrolling, filling your mind up with garbage. You feel exhausted, you feel drained, and you feel like you're wasting your life because you are. Listen, let's be realistic. It's not easy to quit cold turkey, but definitely at least start with a 1 week, 2 week, or even up to a 30-day social media fast. Trust me, you need it. There's nothing you're benefiting from social media unless you're a business owner. That's the one asterisk I'm going to put here. So if you're a business owner and you need social media to operate your business, that's different. However, if you're just a personal account sharing your pictures all the time and watching other people's photos and stories, it's time to take a pause. My best recommendation is people who delete it entirely. Trust me, you can live without social media. I've done it. There's no difference. I'm very happy that I'm not so attached to something and I can easily take this out of my life. No problem. I've stopped using social media for personal purposes and will only use it for business purposes. So like I said, if you don't want to be gone forever, start with a break, a 30-day detox. Social media has so many harmful effects. It's so mind numbing, time wasting. All that time and energy could be put into something else, even a hobby that will add to your life. Which leads me to my second point, which is get rid of sensory pollution. So what sensory pollution is when you have too many things stimulating your senses at the same time. Now, one app on social media can do this. Take Instagram, for example. We're being stimulated visually by seeing different pictures of different people, all the different colors, and all the different buttons. We're also being stimulated by sound because there's so many sounds on social media. Every video you scroll has different music, has different people speaking, different voices, all coming at you at once. We're also being stimulated by all the feelings of touch, the short little taps that we're doing, the scrolling sensation, and we're being mentally stimulated, but in the worst way possible. Not in the way in which you learn and grow, but in the way in which you're just ingesting all this useless upon useless information. Who went to this restaurant? Who took a picture by this tree? Who is engaged? Who is married? Who is divorced? Listen, it's great to keep updated with your friends and family, but you don't need to be doing this on a consistent basis. Which leads me to my third point that kind of touches on sensory pollution, and that's with sound and music. Stop listening to music that gives you negative emotions, songs that make you feel sad, depressed, heartbroken for absolutely no reason. You know, when I was in high school, there was this joke about Drake, because that time he was just coming out as a new artist, that when you listen to his songs, you will feel like you've been through the greatest heartbreak even though you're single. That just spoke to the power music has upon our mind and our emotions and how it truly affects us. You don't need to be listening to songs that keep you down. I understand that sometimes when you are down and you're feeling sad, you might listen to these songs as a comfort, but this is exactly what you don't need to be doing, because these songs continue to add fuel to the fire of your negative emotions. You need to listen to uplifting music with positive messages, no matter what it is, whether it's gospel, whether it's inspirational music, whether it's even just a song like Happy that keeps you happy and at least positive, or consider instrumental music with no words so you can just feel the sounds of the music instead. You know, people are often the music they listen to. Think about it. There's a certain kind of people that listen to, let's say, classical music. There's a certain kind of people that listen to gospel music. There's a certain kind of people that can listen to rap music like Cardi B. There's a certain kind of people that are always listening to some sad song. So music certainly has a great effect on you and affects your mental health. Number 4 is stop having expectations from people who have proven not to meet them. Now, I'm not going to say don't have expectations of people. That's often the advice that's given. You know, don't have expectations of people, but that's negative advice. That teaches you to have low standards in your life, in your relationships, because having expectations is actually healthy and will attract the right kind of people in your life that treat you according to a high standard. So it's not that you don't need to have expectations, but it's that you need to learn faster when it comes to people. You might have certain expectations of someone that's communicated, of course, and when they fail you, let's say they don't show up for you, they leave you hanging, they lie to you, you're confused. And this could be in any relationship, whether friendship or romantic relationship. But if you find that someone has failed your expectations, especially in multiple instances, learn and stop expecting this from them, because you're only going to be letting yourself down. And to add to this, I'd also say, don't have expectations of people you're just meeting. That's a big mistake that some of us make. We'll meet someone, we assume things about them, and we have these expectations. If you don't know them, this is the only time it's actually good to have zero expectations of them and watch their actions, watch the things they say and how they conduct themselves, and then you'll know what to expect of this person. Number 5 is learn how to be okay by yourself in quietness. This is a big one that I feel like a lot of people are lacking, especially people that have always been in relationships from such an early age. They find themselves in adulthood not being able to truly be by themselves. Even if people were in a not so great relationship, sometimes they would still rather suffer there than to be by themselves because they fear their own company. One way to learn this is resist the urge to always call someone. If you're someone that's always calling people and leaning on them for that support, sometimes resist the urge and learn how to be at peace and do some activities by yourself, whatever you like. Maybe cook yourself something nice, eat, watch a nice movie or your favorite TV show, write things down, journal, go for a walk, take a bubble bath or a nice warm shower, go exercise. It's essential to learn how to stand alone, and that will even help your relationships, especially your romantic ones, because there's nothing worse than a partner who is reliant on another partner for their emotional stability. This always becomes too much of a burden for the other partner. But when you learn how to be by yourself and you learn how to keep your own company and you enjoy your own company, then you actually have more to offer someone else in a relationship, because you have things you like, things you've discovered, and things you know that you can share. One thing I've also practiced is quiet time. You know how when you're a kid, they give you quiet time? They're like, oh, this is quiet time, take this book, go color, or just sit here, relax, have this little snack. This is done to teach kids how to calm down, manage their emotions, not always be on such a high all the time, and to relax and come back to balance. Adults need this as well. Take some quiet time, even if it's just 10 minutes. I've also exercised this in my prayer life, where I don't always need to be talking and saying things nonstop in my prayer life. It's also good to pause and just think and feel. The 6th tip for improving your mental health is stop trying to force relationships. Whether it's friendship, whether it's romantic, when it's just not working, when it's exhausting, when it's tiring, just stop trying to force it. Relationships should be natural and reciprocal. And if it's not, then this is the wrong kind of relationship in our lives that we need to put away so that the right kind of relationship can actually come in. Are you the person that's always calling your friend and they never call you? Always checking in, never check in on you? Always asking the important questions, they never ask you a thing? Or maybe you have this friendship where you realize that you guys don't really have much in common. Maybe you're only friends because you met at the workplace, or you're somehow connected in the same circle, but you don't really enjoy each other's company. You can't really talk about too much because you don't have much in common at all. Stop trying to force these relationships. It's not by force. It's really not by force. And that goes into what I was previously saying about learning how to be alone, because if you truly learned how to be alone and to flourish and be comfortable in your own space, then you wouldn't have to force any relationship, because you wouldn't be so scared of your own company, and you'd be okay with patiently waiting to form the right relationships. Number 7, which is a big one, a thing that I've stopped doing for a while now, I think probably since 2018, that has greatly improved my mental health, and that is to stop having religious arguments. I used to be very passionate about my religion and still am, but I've just learned how to express it in ways that's beneficial, because sometimes that new passion especially will find you in a lot of arguments and you're trying to argue for the case of Christ, but you don't realize that this argument is a waste of time. The Bible teaches to not participate in vain arguments. You don't need to argue for Jesus. Arguing and spreading the gospel is not the same thing. Don't get me wrong, there's people that engage in religious debates, which I think do share the gospel and can really open people's eyes to the truth, but that's when it's done in a very organized manner. I'm talking about everyday life, getting in a religious argument. I'm at the stage right now where somebody could tell me there is no God, and that's not going to trigger me. I'm not about getting in that argument. I used to, and it would only cause me great stress, because what I've realized is a lot of arguments are useless because a lot of arguments don't change anybody's position. A lot of arguments are rooted in right fighting, pride, and arrogance. And I also learned from reading the Bible and seeing how Jesus conducted himself that Jesus often avoided a lot of arguments. There was many times where he was set up, and the Pharisees, especially of that day, would try to trap him into an argument, and he would dodge it. Even when he was on trial and Pilate would try to get him to argue his case, what did he say? Silence. Because obviously in his great infinite wisdom, he knows that there is a time and a place for certain arguments, and certain arguments are not effective and they are a waste of time. And he did that to teach us to follow in his footsteps as well, that we don't need to be in aggressive arguments. And the same thing goes for political arguments. You don't have to argue these things. You are pro this, you think I'm anti this, great. You think I'm evil because I don't support this, great. That's part of the reason I was motivated to start this channel, because I just wanted to have a discussion, conversation, and sharing instead of argument, and arguments. And arguments can easily spin out of control. You have to learn that you can't talk about everything to everyone. There's a famous saying from Jesus that goes, "Why throw the pearls to pigs?" And one interpretation of that is meaning you can't discuss everything with everyone. Some people it will not get through their skull at this time. You can share your opinion, you can state your points. If it's accepted, great. If it's not, no need to go any further and go back and forth. If something is not conversational, even if there's some disagreements, then I'm out. So that's it for the 7 things that I stopped doing that improve my mental health, that I know will also improve yours if you practice these same tips. If you like this video, please do hit the like button and subscribe for more self-development content like this. And also share in the comment section, what are some things that you stopped doing that have improved your mental health as well? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I really like this. Like, I really feel good when I talk about these things. And